Hi. The general consensus is retire as early as you can. Now, unless you really love your job, if it takes up your whole life, you live for work, and you really love it, okay, stay on. But if you get to the stage where you think, well, I'm going to retire, I will retire sometime, make it as early as you can. This is what we're told over and over. Why? The answer is obvious. We're still in the vigour of our early days of retirement. If we retire early, let's say in our 50s, as distinct from our 60s, and certainly not in our 70s, retire as early as you can because you will have the energies to do the things that you want to do. Now, the retirement industry often dwells on the holiday. We know that we won't spend our whole life holidaying, but at least while we are young, we can go on a different type of holiday than when we are very old. I retired at 59. That is, I took voluntary redundancy. My employer was cutting back, gave me the option to leave with a bit of a payout, and I took it. Now, that was 28 years ago. I was 59, and I was very fit, very energetic, and could do lots of things. This is the point I make about retiring early, because then you can go on those overseas trips, and it won't take too much out of you. You can go on those long holidays, perhaps taking an outback, if you live in Australia, an outback trip on a caravan or something like that. In other words, you're prepared to rough it a bit when you are still fairly young in your retirement. You might go on an outback trip in a camper wagon or with a small group of people, live in tents and do that sort of thing. Live the sort of an outdoorsy type of life. You won't be prepared to do that in your 80s. This is why I say retire as early as you can. But as time goes by, your desire to go on certain types of holidays will change. For example, you might join a group. I belong to an organisation between 2001 and 2008 called the University of the Third Age. I used to run classes, and I used to attend other classes. One was about the history of aviation. Another one was Australian history. And of course I ran my own class, which was called Inner Quest, our quest for happiness, body, mind and spirit. That speaks for itself as to the type of content. But the point I make is this. I made lots of friends in that class and in U3A, University of the Third Age. And we used to go on holidays. Every year we would hire a bus. 40 people would go on the trip, and we would go to various places and stay overnight at a hotel or a motel and journey out from there. And it was terrific. The camaraderie of having friends that you've known for years, holidaying with you and being able to go out to dinner at night, all seated together, great. You can do that if you retire early enough. And as time goes by, these things will gradually give way to going on that type of holiday, perhaps more than you used to when you were younger. Because as you get not so fit, you're still prepared to sit happily in a big tour coach and watch all the scenery and stop at various spots, enjoy life. And you can do that. And you can do that right up into very old age. And as I said, if you retire early, you can go on those more outback type journeys. When I'm talking about outback, I'm talking about Australia. But in America or Canada, it would be very much the same. You could be prepared to sort of go into the countryside into the bush, as we call it here in Australia. And it's different from when you're old and you're going to motels and you're being helped off the bus by the bus driver and so forth. So we do change over time. We do lose our energies as we get older. If you want to see the world while you're still energetic and go on those types of holidays where you've always wanted to, do it while you are young. Retire early. Gradually, as time goes by, you'll be less inclined to go on these rough trips, more inclined to go into the 5-star, well, maybe not the 5-star, maybe that's a bit too much, but certainly into the 4-star and 3-star accommodation with friends and enjoy the camaraderie, the get-togethers, the talks and so forth. I can't advocate it strongly enough. If you don't like your job, retire as early as you can. After all, you will be retired for a long time. You might as well enjoy the early years of retirement as best you can. And that will enable you to do the things that you really want to do right up until the end of your life.